What's the greatest thing you've ever seen? When my grandmother was checked into the nursing home, my parents seemingly erased her from the family. They dropped her off, blocked her number, and never looked back. I barely even thought about it because of how normal they made it seem. They were always saying stuff like, she's better off there, or we're too busy for her. I remember being 17 when my mom made me drop off some insurance papers at the nursing home. I was walking through the halls when I saw this big calendar hanging in the common room. They had all the residents' birthdays listed, and I saw my grandmother's name circled for 3 weeks' time. I figured, oh cool, they must have a little party planned or something. I asked one of the nurses about it, just trying to make small talk, and she gave me this confused look. She said no one had come to visit my grandma in nearly 8 months. That hit me like a punch in the chest. I walked to her room feeling kind of sick. When I got there, Grandma was just sitting in her wheelchair by the window, staring outside. I almost didn't recognize her at first. Her hair looked thinner, and all around her were old family photos, but every single one was face down. She turned when she heard me, and for a second, her whole face lit up. Then just as fast, it shut down like a door slamming. She mumbled a hello and turned her chair back toward the window like she didn't want to get her hopes up. I asked her if she knew her birthday was coming up, and she just shrugged like she didn't care, but I could tell she cared. On the drive home, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I felt furious at my parents. I felt guilty too because I had just gone along with it. That night, I decided I was going to throw her a birthday party. I didn't tell anyone, but I started picking up extra shifts at the cafe where I worked after school. I dipped into my college savings even though I knew my parents would flip if they found out. Every time they asked why I was never home, I just said I had group projects or extra credit. The nursing home wasn't exactly thrilled when I asked about hosting a party. They kept throwing around words like liability and restrictions, but one of the nurses, Diane, pulled me aside and said she would help me figure it out if I was serious. I started spending more time there and not just with my grandma. I got to know some of the other residents too. I heard stories about how my grandma used to be the life of every party, how she was so lively and energetic in her day. The difference between that and now almost broke me. Meanwhile, my parents started getting suspicious. One night, they straight up asked me if I was wasting my time on grandma. I told them about the party and they lost it. My dad asked me if she had manipulated me into it. I told him no. I was doing it out of free choice, whether they liked it or not. After that, things got tense at home. I basically lived out of my car for a few days so I could keep sneaking around with Diane's help. Finally, the morning of her birthday came. I got to the nursing home crazy early with bags of decorations, dumplings that I stayed up all night making following her recipe, and a giant poster board covered in photos and little notes from relatives I tracked down online. I hung red lanterns everywhere. Diane helped me move tables and set everything up. By the time we were done, the whole room looked warm and glowing. When they wheeled my grandma in, she stopped dead in the doorway. Her mouth opened like she was about to say something, but no sound came out. She looked around like she couldn't believe it. When she saw the dumplings and the memory wall, she covered her mouth with her hands and started shaking. At first, I thought she was upset, but then I realized she was crying. The residents all started clapping and singing happy birthday, and even the grumpiest ones were smiling and laughing. My grandma rolled up to the table and grabbed my hand so tight it hurt. She kept whispering, "You remembered, you remembered." Then, just as everyone was digging into the food, and it felt like the happiest moment ever, I saw my parents walk in. They stood there stiff and awkward at the door like they didn't know what to do. For a second, I thought my grandma would turn her back on them. She tensed up, her face went kind of blank, but then she took a deep breath. She grabbed 2 more dumplings, held them out toward my parents, and said, "Come, sit."